Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome to Wix Fixer. As you can see, today we are not on the Wix Fixer website, but rather on my personal website, and that is because today I'm going to attempt to do something that requires custom code, which is only possible on a premium Wix website. What we're going to try today is to make a dark mode for my website, and that will require changing the background and the text in a uniform way throughout the entire website. And this is something that was brought up in the comments by one of our viewers, and I'm going to see if I can do that to my personal website. So let's get started. Okay, so as I said, solution is going to need custom code in Wix. And if you're not familiar with that, custom code, in order to get to that, you'll want to go to your dashboard, settings, and then here on the bottom, you'll have custom code. And this lets you inject code into your website page. You can inject it in the head or in the body start or body end. And this is a little different than using the embed HTML element because this code is actually on your page and can change things in your website. It can manipulate the DOM in the way that you can't using Velo or any other Wix element. And let me just prove that to you and show you how it works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add custom code. And here is where we write our code snippet. And I'm going to write a style snippet, a style HTML tag. And inside this style, I am going to select all of my H1 elements on my website, essentially. And then here we just need to write CSS. And what I'm going to say here is that color should be equal to red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this code and I'm going to apply it on body start. Okay, and it's going to be applied here to all pages of my website. So I'm going to click apply. And then I'm going to go over to my website and don't make sure that the code is enabled, and I'm going to refresh my website, and you will see that my H1, which is this, has not changed. And that is because there is probably some other Wix styling or something that's overriding the CSS that I wrote. And the way to get around that is to go by going to the custom code editing. And what I need to do here is add important. And important basically means that this will override any other styling that this element has. And now if I apply this and I go to my website and I refresh, you will see that my H1 has actually turned red. And this is the approach that I'm going to take to try and create a dark theme, a dark mode for my website. So one other thing that I'm going to need to be able to change on my website is the background page. And I tried to do that just using the div selector, but it turns out we have to be a little more specific. So in order to attack specific elements in Wix, what we're going to do is we're going to use inspect. And then we actually can see the HTML for all the different elements on our website, all the different HTML tags that we have. And I noticed that a lot of the divs have this data test ID color underlay. And that's basically what I'm going to use to select divs. Okay, so I'm going to go into here into my settings and go back into our custom code. And here, what we're going to want to do is I'm going to say divs, okay, that have a certain data type. Okay, and that data type, we're going to go back to my website. So data test ID is equal to color overlay. So I'm actually just going to copy this whole entire thing over, if it'll let me. Copy, go back, and I'm going to paste this right over here. And then I am going to say that, whoops, I want there, no. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little annoying to edit the code here, and we won't be doing all the code editing here. I'm just showing you a few examples. Background, and let's make it black. And now if I apply this, I forgot something, and that was the important. So let's go back to edit settings. And here I'm just going to add important. 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 And apply. And I'm going to go back to my website, refresh. And you should see that all of the divs have turned black. This is not a div, this is a box, so we're going to have to deal with that individually. You can see that our header also didn't change, and that's because if I inspect this element, then you'll see that this is actually um, data test ID is equal to container background and not to whatever the other one was. And so we're going to have to tackle some of these things more specifically, but this is the general approach that we're going to use in order to create the dark theme for my website. So now the next thing that I want to approach is how do we activate this dark mode, right? Because I want to be able to toggle between both of the modes. I don't want people to be either on dark or light when they reach the website because that kind of defeats the purpose. So here we're going to have JavaScript, and we're going to have JavaScript which is manipulating the styles of these specific divs and h1s, etc. So let's try and approach that and see if we can figure that out. And in order to do that, I just opened a pen over here and let's mimic the situation that we have on my live site. I'm actually just going to turn off this custom code for now, just in case somebody visits the website while I'm making this video. And I don't want them to see a very bizarre black website with red uh, H1s. So that's not what I want. And that's why I turned that off. So let's go over here and let's try and replicate the situation where we have, for example, I have a div here. I'm just going to refresh so you can see what the website looks like now. Here, okay, so we have a div with a class of, with this data test ID color underlay. So I'm going to copy that over. Okay, and I'm going to go, sorry, that's another pen that we'll need for later. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this inside of a div like it was on my website. And just copy this right in here and stick it here. Okay, so this is essentially a replica of what I have on my live site. And now I need to see how do I select this using JavaScript. So I want to do, let's call it divs, will be equal to document dot query selector. And now I have to find a specific selector that will allow me to select for data. So we'll be back in 1 second with that. Okay, I'm back from Stack Overflow. And what I found is this line of code that I just pasted in here. And basically, this is a way to select all of the elements which have a specific data selector. So let's just fit this so that it works with what we have in our code, which is basically that we wanted to select anything with all of this in terms of data attribute. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to console.log divs just to see that this is actually working. And let's head over to the console. I'll need to move this over here for that. We head over to the console and we see that we have this div inside of our node list. Okay, and for example, if I put hello inside of this div, and let's say I set, let's say div, and then I will say, background red, height 100 pixels, width 100 pixels, just a little easier to test this out when we have a little visual. And then let's say I have divs, then I say um, divs. I think I could do a for each here. I might be wrong. I might need to put this in a loop. So divs.forEach, console.log, div.innerHTML. Now let's see if that says hello. Undefined hello. Okay, so you see here we managed to loop through the divs, and that means that we actually managed to select this div. And for example, if I had a few divs like this, and this one said bye, and this one said welcome, then we should see here, hello, bye, welcome. Okay, so we're looping through all of these. And basically what we want to do now is we want to give them another class. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is that for each div, okay, I'm going to go div dot class list dot add, and then I'm going to make a new class over here, and this is going to be blue. Okay, and here I'm just going to say background. What did I use here? Just plain background, right? Background blue, and I'm going to make this important, just like we will on my live site. And then what I will do is add this blue class to each of the divs. And let's see if that works. And yes, it did. So it changed all of my divs to blue. And this is what I will do on my live site. But we actually want this to happen when we click on something specific. And let's just add, for now, we're going to add a button as well. So, okay, you know what we'll do? Let's copy this over, copy all this code over. Okay, and we're going to need to put this inside of script tags. Let me do that first. Script, and this will also have to be script. And but we're going to have, okay, that's just because this is in the JavaScript. Like if I copied this over here to the HTML, we'd be fine. Yeah, and what we're just going to have here is we're going to have a button. And this button will be just a dark mode. And I'll give this an ID of dark mode. And then inside of my script, I'll say const dark mode button. And we're going to change this later and make it a little more advanced, but that'll be equal to document dot get element by ID dark mode. And now I'm just going to add an event listener. Let's make this a function. So const change backgrounds. And this is really all just proof of concept what I'm doing. I actually did not practice this part before. So this is really a code along. I'm quite confident that it will work. And if you're seeing this video, it probably does mean that it did work, because I probably would not publish this video if I didn't succeed. So, okay, so we have our function here, and now I'm just gonna create the event listener. So let's go and do dark mode button dot add event listener, and it's going to be for click event, and then we'll do it like this. Let's say if on the click event, let's do it like this. So we need to do change backgrounds. Okay, so for each div, what we'll do is if div dot class list dot includes, I'm pretty sure you can do this, blue, then what we'll do is we will remove it instead. So we'll go over here, and instead of add, I will do remove, and else we will add the blue in. Okay, so this is essentially a toggle behavior. And let me format like that, sorry. Format. And here, instead of adding this open callback function, I'm going to do change. Okay, let's see. Moment of truth. No, I have an error. Where is my error? Unexpected identifier dark mode button. You need to write const and not constant. Okay. Clear the console, and includes is not a function. Okay, let me just find out how to check if a classlet includes something. Okay, so I'm back, and it needs to be classlist.contains. And let's try this again. And it's working. Okay, so we have our dark mode button, which switches between red and blue. Okay, so let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, go over to CSS, change this to div dark mode. And this is going to be, I'm going to go find a nice and not 100% black color, but a nice kind of dark mode color, kind of like what you have here. Okay, so I think this is a pretty nice dark mode color, which you'll see in a moment. And now I just need to take this class name and switch it out for the blues. Let's test that again. Okay, so that's my new dark mode color. And now let's try applying this to my WiX website. So the first thing I'll need to do is to take this class and add it in. So what I'm going to go and do is go to my website, settings here, edit settings, and then here inside of my style tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this class in over here. And just add that right over there. Okay, so we added that class in, and now I need to add the element itself. So let's add the button that actually toggles this. So I'm going to go back to my pen and grab that button. And I'm just going to put this right over here. And then I'm going to add my script. So I'm going to go over to my pen and grab the script. So that's everything that we have in here. And put that into my custom element as well. So I'm going to put that right under there. And here goes nothing. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to enable this on my website. And then I'm going to go and refresh. And I should see, okay, I see dark mode over here. This should be the button. For some reason, it looks really weird. So let me take a look and see why that is. Okay, so just to fill you in on where I am at the moment. So we have this dark mode, which is supposed to be a button, which doesn't look like a button. But when I do click it, I get back this changing backgrounds console log that I put inside of the backend code. So we know that the button is being clicked. I also know that I also put a log to see what the divs list looks like, and it seems like the node list is empty. That means that we're having some trouble selecting the divs, and now I need to try and figure out why that is. Okay, so after doing a little more thinking and investigating, I have a hunch that the problem is that this script is on the top of the body. And that basically means that this code is loading before my page actually loads. So when this code loads, there actually are no divs with this data attribute. And I need to actually defer this script so that it runs after all of the elements have loaded. So I'm just going to add the keyword here, defer, and I think that that should do the trick. So I'm going to save this and go back to my website, refresh, and let's see if this works at all. Okay, still not working. Let's see if the node list is coming back at all. Node list is still 0. Okay, that means the defer was not working. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to separate this code and I'm going to put it at the bottom of the page. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to go ahead, custom code, edit settings. I'm going to take the script part, just the script, leave everything else on the top of the body. And I'm going to put this right over here at body end. Over there, and I'm just going to get rid of the defer keyword because anyways we put on the bottom manually, and that should load all pages body end. Let's see if that did the trick. Let me reload the page. Aha! And you see here that we have our full node list, which means that when I do click dark mode, what should happen is that my website went into dark mode. So that's pretty cool, I think. I feel pretty good about that. And now basically what needs to be done is the following. We need to do the same thing that we just did for the rest of the elements on my website and make sure that we cover everything. And we need to figure out how to make this dark mode button a little more attractive. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's go ahead and deal with the header and all this stuff here. So if we went in here and we inspected, we can see that this had the test data test ID container background. So I'm going to copy that over, and we're just going to do the same thing that we did for the divs, because these I want to style in pretty much the same way that I styled the divs, because they were styled the same way on my default website. So I'm going to go back into the pen, and basically what we're going to do is say that I'm just going to paste this here for now, and I'm actually going to copy all this code. So let's try and make this code a little more let's make this code a little more reusable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change backgrounds, and I'm actually going to make it dependent on 2 parameters. So one parameter is going to be node list, and one parameter is going to be class name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to instead say change backgrounds. So here we're going to need to change this. Batch. And then I'm going to say change backgrounds. This is actually going to need to be more complex. But for now, let's change backgrounds, divs, and class name is div mode dark. And then what we're going to do here is instead of having all of this, we're going to have class name instead of div mode. Let's change this all up. Change, and then this we can get rid of. And then instead of divs, we're going to have node list. dot for each, and this will be node, just to be a little more clear. And then if that node has that class name, okay, so this should work in the same way. Let's double check that here. I need to comment this out first so we don't have any errors. And yeah, okay, so this is still working. And the reason I did that is just to refactor the code so that now we can use this change backgrounds function for all of our node lists. So let's get the next node list. And that's going to be just the same thing, but for this. Yeah, let's copy this over and put that right in there. And yeah, okay, great. So this will be containers. I think that's what it was called in WiX. And then what we're going to do here is, let's open this up a little bit. Same thing, change backgrounds. I'm just going to copy this over. Change backgrounds. And here we're just going to do containers. And we can actually use the same styling as div dark mode because, as I said, I want to change the containers in the same way that I want to change divs. Okay, so moment of truth. Let's copy this code over to our WiX website. Everything's still working here. Yeah, okay. I didn't really check it with the containers, but let's check that on the WiX website itself. So I'm going to copy that over, go back here to the bottom, edit settings, and let's just scrap all this and add the new code, apply, back to the website, refresh, and dark mode. Where'd my dark mode button go? There it is. Okay, so there we go. As you see, the containers turned kind of dark as well. Yeah, and I have this one container. Let's see what this looks like when it's like going through its. Okay, so that looks okay. It looks okay until yeah, until this pops up. Let's see what this is. Let's inspect. I think it's a box. Oh, it's also a div with color underlay. Okay, I think the issue is that because this is a multi-state box, so it actually like creates new divs. Let's run my website and see what happens here. So let's inspect this as the animation is going. Yeah, and you can see like the DOM is changing here. So like the problem is that when I turn on dark mode, um, it doesn't really work so well with this because the elements are only added later on. I'm gonna ignore that for now because the only problem is when this thing pops up here at the end. And let's focus on some of the other parts of the website. So let's take a look at what these are. And this is a span inside of a div. Stylable button. And data test ID link element. Link element. Let's try data test ID link element. Let's see if that does that. So I'm going to go over here and grab that. I'm going to go back to my pen just because it's a little easier to edit things here. Add this in, copy this over, switch in this part, and then just change this to, let's say, links. And we're going to add the same thing here for links. Excellent. And let's see if that worked. So copy. No, oh, I almost made a mistake here. Okay, div, and here should be links. And let's copy that over. Just the script part. and edit settings, throw this in, apply. And over here. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that fixed the buttons part over here on top. And looking pretty good. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is text. And for text, it's actually easier because I don't need to use any kind of special data attributes or anything like that. Just all of the text is going to be white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check how to select multiple things at the same time. So 1 second. Okay, so I think it's done like this. The const text equals document dot query selector selector all, and then I just need to say here h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6, p, and that will be all of the text. Let's see, and then we'll need to create a new style here actually. So let's go to text dark mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say color white. And this first thing I'll do is just copy this over to the style over here. So edit settings, style. So here we have our dark mode, div dark mode, and I'm going to add right under it our text dark mode. Apply that. And then I'm going to go over here and copy this. And this is going to be for text. Just text, right? Yeah. And this is going to be text dark mode. That's the name that I gave to, yes, text dark mode. Okay, let's try that out. Copy this over. I'm just waiting for that moment where everything breaks, even though theoretically it should not. And apply and refresh. And okay, so it didn't work, but it didn't break everything, which is nice. Yeah, let's try. Let's actually see if that worked on my pen, because I do have text here. No, it actually doesn't work on my pen either. So, oh, because those are text in divs. Let's see if I just add color white inside the divs, what will happen. That actually might be a good shortcut, because everything is kind of going to be in a div, I think. Yeah, so that actually needs to be done here. Edit settings, div dark mode, and let's have, 1 second, I didn't add important. Let's see if that works. Apply, and let's try that. That might have been my problem. And dark mode, and there we go. So you see that my text is now white. And let's see, why is this text? What text is this? Let's see what tag this has. Span. Okay, let's select spans as well. So I'm going to go over here. And again, this is just one approach. I mean, there could be other ways to solve what I'm doing here. I'm just going to edit settings and go. I might here. P. Span. Y. And let's try that again. Okay, that really worked. But it did make some things in my website disappear. Where is my header here? Hmm. Um, hmm. Where did my header go? That is very weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, now my animation started. Why didn't that start the first time? Let's try reloading my site. Go into dark mode. Oh, okay. That was just a temporary bug. And the spam thing was really good because that really just fixed all of this over here. This weird two white stuff on the top, that's because of the code that I added. So to fix that up, I'll need to actually, um, what I can do to fix that up. Well, first I want to fix my button so that it looks nicer. That'll be the next thing that I'll tackle. Um, this form, so to fix this, what I would need to do is change labels and change these inputs. Maybe I'll do that soon. But first I want to tackle the button because that's kind of important that this button looks nice. So first thing I want to try and do is let's add some style. So what I want to try and do is replace this with this nice toggle button that I made over here. And so I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this inside of my custom code here. So edit settings, and where we have our button, I'm actually going to put this right under it. And let's see what our button ID was dark mode. So I'm going to make the ID of this. Let's make the ID of this toggle dark mode as well. That'll break a lot of things for me. So let's change toggle input. No, let's do it because I want it to be right. So let's change this to dark mode toggle. That's our input ID, and I'm just going to remember to put that here for the label as well. Dark mode toggle. And okay, that should be good. So let's save that. I'm going to apply that, and let's just see how that looks on the website. Not so good because I didn't put in my styling yet, so that's normal. Let's copy over this styling, and let's copy over that styling. See what that looks like. So I'm going to copy this, and this I need to change now to. Let's see. I changed this to dark mode input. Dark mode input. Change that here in the original file as well, just so I don't drive myself crazy. So this input is dark mode input, and this is for dark mode input, and this toggle button, find toggle button after. This needs to be dark mode input, and this needs to be dark mode input. And now let's just make sure it's still working. Yes. Okay, so copy this. Let's copy this CSS over. And I'm going to put this over here inside of styles. Let's put it up. Now let's put it here underneath. Enter and apply and refresh. Okay, so now we have this nicer toggle button over here. Obviously, it's not turning on dark mode yet. And this height should be 0. 1 second, that's not working. Dark mode input. It's working here. Height 0. Not working. Let's try width 0. Apply. No. What I do want to do is set So we have these divs here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get that actually. Okay, let's start with making it work. So instead, I want this dark mode input to be what triggers my dark mode. So I'm going to copy this over and I'm going to go into my code and then just switch this over here. Now, if we go back, then we'll see that. So a lot of stuff is not working here. That's weird. Basically, all the styling for that is not working. Input ideas. Yeah, it's working. It's working here, but it's not working on the WiX site. Okay, let me try and figure out why this isn't working, and I'll be right back. Okay, so as usual, it was just miswriting because I had called it dark mode input here inside of the styling, but the element itself is called dark mode toggle. So I'm going to change that to dark mode input. And let's see if that helps. So I'm going to go back to the website and refresh. And the styling is good and dark mode works. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out if there's any way to get it to present in a better way and not kind of where it is now, because that is just doesn't look very good. So let's see if I can fix that up. Why is it like this on both sides? Okay, so it seems like this header thing is good at blocking what I have here on the side. Let's go, if I zoom, if I'm zoomed into my website, I can't even see that. So that would be a problem because I wouldn't be able to see dark mode option even if I wasn't zoomed out. Um, hmm. Okay, so one option, which I think I'm going to go with, is that I'm going to create this element in JavaScript. And then I'm going to append it to my header. And let's see if I can do that. So what I'm going to do is head over to the JavaScript. So instead of dark mode button equal document, this is going to be document dot create element, and let's make it a div. Okay, and then we're going to create another element. This is going to be dark mode button wrapper. And then this is going to be dark mode label. This is going to be dark mode input. And each of these is going to be creating its own element. This is going to be a label, and this is going to be an input. And I think I need to just set attributes. So let's go and set attribute for this. So I'm going to say dark mode input set attribute type, and then this is going to be checkbox. I'm just going to double check that this is right before I start making errors for myself. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. What's the error that I'm getting here? Dark mode button is not defined. Okay, so we're just getting some general errors on the bottom because we don't really have. Okay, I'll call this dark mode button. Yeah, because that's where we were adding the on-click. Okay, yeah, let's keep it like that. And so we added the type checkbox. And what else do we need to add? That's over here in this pen. So we need to add, we don't need the ID because we don't need to select it, or do we need? No, we're going to select everything in the JavaScript, so we're good. We need to add classes. We need to add a for to the label. So let's add, but we'll need an ID. We'll need an ID. Let's try without the for. I don't think I'm going to need that for because we're not actually using the checkboxes attributes for that. Oh no, we do. We do need the checkbox. We need the for. Okay, so let's set the ID for the input. The ID for the input. Okay. So I'm going to copy this over. And I'm going to set the ID attribute to dark mode input. And for the label, I'm going to set the for attribute to that. Okay, now let's add the classes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and all these classes, I'm going to change from select to actually be classes. So I'm going to do .toggle button. Toggle button. So these are all just going to be, I need to add the toggle button, toggle button. So toggle button needs to be added to the label and dark mode input to the input. Okay, so copy this. This is going to be dot class list add, and for this we need to add toggle button, and for this we need to add dark mode input. Okay, this is actually wrong. So let's do this, and this needs to be. I'm gonna have so many errors soon. Toggle button. This needs to be dark mode input, so just like this actually. Okay, and now we just need to add these one to the other. So what I'm going to do is div dot append. No, sorry, div dark mode button. Let's first append. No, just append both of them to the dark mode button. Dark mode button dot append dark mode. Just copy paste here. Sorry, there's no good autocomplete here. Dark mode label and dark mode input. And we'll format that. And the last thing that I need to do is I need to actually get the ID of my header on my WiX website. So let's go to my WiX website and inspect. Inspect. So I'm gonna find the outermost. No. Okay. Which div do I want? That's always the question. Um, okay, so since these are all in that div, I'm gonna add it to this div. And this div, does this div even have an ID? I'm going to use this data mesh ID and I'm going to hope for the best. Okay, so I'm going to copy this over and go back to my pen, paste that there. And this is going to be const header equals document dot select no query selector, and then I'm going to use the same thing that we did last time. So this inside of that, copy this over, and then after we appended everything to our button, I'm going to append the button to the header. So header dot append and dark button. And yeah, with luck, and this should work. Let's just go first to my styles and remember to change the style. So I'm going to go over here, edit settings. Inside of the styles, I'm going to copy it over from the pen because it's just get easier. Copy this over. Going to replace what we have in here. And yeah. We don't want to replace those. So everything until here. No, that does not look good. Yeah, I wish WiX would just make this a little bigger. Make it a little easier to use. Because they don't count on people actually editing code in here, just kind of copying and pasting. But still, does it really hurt to make it a little larger? Okay, applied that. And now I'm going to copy our code. Grab all that. Copy. Throw that in here. Edit settings. Control A. Control V. Moment of truth. Okay, that did not seem to work. Okay, I will pause briefly and be back soon. Okay, so welcome back. And let me just recap the last 20 minutes of like debugging and playing around that I did. So basically I decided to trash the custom built buttons that I had built in HTML and CSS and whatever. I might have eventually found a way to append it to the header over here, but I decided that was overly complicated, and a better idea would be to create a button in WiX that is attached to my header and just go in and inspect. And the same way that I was trying to select the header, just to select that button. Okay, so let's go over here. And basically, I just went ahead and I right click here, inspect, and I see that this button is inside of this div, which has an ID. Everything inside doesn't have an ID, but this div does have an ID. So I just copied this ID right over, and I went back to my pen, and I just selected that element using the ID. And then I just decided, okay, I'll run all the code when that element is clicked, and it worked. And you can see here that now when I click on this native WiX element, I am actually entering dark mode in my website. And this project is not 100% complete. There's still some bugs going on here. I guess the spam that I had in there before somehow disappeared or whatever. This form is not complete, but I think that this video probably gave you enough of the basic concept in order to do this on your own. If you have any questions or you want to share your thoughts, please do that in the comment section. And if you like this video and you want to see more like this, just like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.